There is a power that never sleeps, a presence that moves through the night as gently as the moonlight upon still waters. When you close your eyes, you do not drift into darkness. You drift into creation. The unseen world is ever at work, shaping substance from thought, weaving your desires into form. What you think as you fall asleep becomes the pattern for your tomorrow. Every image you hold in the silence of night is a seed planted in the garden of the infinite. Wealth is not something to be chased, it is something to be accepted. It is a state of divine harmony, a rhythm of abundance in which the soul dances when it knows it is one with the source of all supply. The river of prosperity never dries, for it flows from the endless heart of God. And every mind attuned to that truth shall drink deeply of its waters. As you rest, release all thought of lack and limitation. Say within, there is nothing to fear. The same intelligence that governs the stars governs my life. The same law that keeps the planets in perfect order guides me to my perfect good. For what is wealth but the outward expression of inner certainty? When the mind is at peace, the world rushes to reflect it. Many lie down in worry, rehearsing their troubles as though they were vows, and so they rise in the same bondage they carried into sleep. But you, beloved listener, are learning a new way. You are learning to fall asleep in faith, to close your eyes upon the world of appearances and open your soul to the invisible abundance that surrounds you. You are learning to trust that the law of good is constant, that what you affirm in calm expectancy must appear in form. Tonight, as your body grows still, let your thoughts grow radiant. Imagine yourself clothed in light, walking the path of plenty. Feel the gold of sunlight upon your hands, the fragrance of success in the air, the joy of freedom in your heart. Say silently, all that is mine by divine right now manifests. The treasures of heaven are pouring into my experience. I rest in the consciousness of abundance, and I awake renewed, prosperous, and free. Sleep, then, becomes not a pause in living, but a passage into manifestation. For every thought charged with belief is a command to the universe, and the universe always obeys. You need not strive nor struggle. You need only remember the truth, that the power within you is greater than any circumstance without. The gates of prosperity swing open to the soul that knows its authority. As you surrender to sleep, you are not losing consciousness. You are aligning with the creative forces that never cease their work. They move through the silence, preparing your way, multiplying your good, arranging divine appointments, opening invisible doors. And when you awaken, the dawn shall bring not just light but realization that wealth has already answered your call. The mind is the great architect of reality, shaping every detail of your world through the silent power of thought. When the body drifts toward sleep, the conscious mind relaxes its grip, and the subconscious, the builder of all form, takes command. It listens not to your words, but to your feelings, to the impressions you leave upon it as you fall into slumber. Every image, every belief, every quiet statement you hold before sleep becomes a living seed, planted in the fertile soil of the unseen. The subconscious does not judge. It does not question. It simply accepts and brings forth in its own perfect season whatever the conscious mind has impressed upon it. To understand this power is to hold the key to transformation. The moments before sleep are the most sacred, for they are the doorway between the seen and the unseen, between your waking world and the infinite field of creation. If your last thoughts before sleep are of worry, fear, and limitation, those vibrations pass into your subconscious like commands, and the next day's experience rises from that same soil of anxiety. But when your last thoughts are of peace, plenty, and divine order, the creative forces move in your favor, shaping circumstances that mirror that inner harmony. The outer world is but a reflection of the inner state, and the night is the time when that inner state is most open to influence. Imagine the mind as a garden. The conscious self is the gardener, choosing what seeds to plant through the medium of thought. The subconscious is the earth, rich and obedient, ready to grow whatever is given to it. You cannot sow weeds and expect roses, nor can you plant fear and expect faith. Every thought is a seed, and every seed will bear fruit after its kind. The wise gardener tends to the soil before rest, ensuring that only seeds of beauty, strength, and abundance are sown. When you fall asleep in worry, you water the weeds of doubt. When you fall asleep in peace, you nurture the blossoms of prosperity. The mind does not cease creating because the body sleeps. Energy continues to flow, ideas continue to form, and the divine law of attraction continues its perfect operation. The impressions fixed in the subconscious before sleep determine what paths open and what opportunities unfold upon waking. The mind's creative power is like a stream that follows the channel carved by your belief. The deeper the channel of confidence and expectancy, the more easily abundance flows. The shallower the faith, the more easily it is blocked by fear. Therefore, the wise soul prepares for sleep, not with idle distraction, but with deliberate thought, a quiet rehearsal of good, a recognition of the infinite supply ever waiting to manifest. There is magic in the moment when the conscious mind begins to surrender, for in that twilight between wakefulness and sleep, the imagination is at its strongest. It is here that you may picture yourself already living the life you desire, already surrounded by prosperity and freedom. The subconscious accepts the image as fact and begins immediately to draw circumstances that correspond to it. You do not need to know how. The how belongs to the infinite mind. Your task is only to see clearly, to feel deeply, to know without doubt that what you imagine in faith is already moving toward you. Every night offers a chance for renewal, a reset of the inner pattern. Just as the body heals and restores itself in rest, the mind too reorders its structure according to the dominant impressions of the day. When those impressions are harmonious, the restoration is swift and joyous. When they are discordant, the renewal is heavy and slow. Therefore, choose with care the thoughts you carry into sleep. Let them be thoughts of gratitude for what already is, and certainty of what is to come. The subconscious mind responds to emotion, not argument, so it is not enough to simply say, "I am wealthy." You must feel the reality of abundance in your heart, breathe it, sense it. Let it become the vibration that carries you into slumber. Thought is substance. It is invisible, yet it molds the visible. The invisible always precedes the visible, and so every form of wealth, money, opportunity, inspiration, success, first exists as an idea, a belief, a pattern in mind. When you fall asleep holding the image of yourself as prosperous, secure, and fulfilled, you set that pattern deeply within your creative consciousness. From that moment, unseen forces align with your conviction. People, ideas, and events begin to move in synchrony with the picture you have impressed. You may call it coincidence or fate, but it is neither. It is the inevitable fulfillment of mental law. The mind, when trained, becomes a perfect instrument of creation. It is not through struggle but through alignment that manifestation occurs. The struggle of day gives way to the surrender of night, and in that surrender lies power. The law of life responds not to tension but to faith. You cannot demand good with clenched fists. You must receive it with open hands. So as you lie upon your bed, release the strain of effort. Release the noise of worry. Whisper to yourself, "All is well. The universe is working in my favor. Divine order is established now." Let that be the lullaby that carries you into rest, for the subconscious hears and obeys. If you would transform your world, begin with the thoughts you take into sleep. Every habit, every condition, every experience is born of thought repeated and impressed. The mind, like clay, takes the shape of the mold you press upon it. Each night offers a new mold, a new chance to impress harmony, wealth, and joy. You cannot plant one image tonight and expect a forest tomorrow, but with consistency, the subconscious reshapes your reality to match the images you feed it. This is not superstition but law, the same law that governs the growth of a seed, the orbit of planets, and the unfolding of flowers. The creative process never ceases. The mind that holds images of abundance before sleep is like a magnet, drawing to itself everything required for their fulfillment. Opportunities begin to appear where none seemed before. Ideas arise seemingly out of nowhere, and the right people are drawn into your path. The outer conditions shift as the inner pattern changes, for the world cannot resist the pull of a mind convinced of its own wealth. To fall asleep in such conviction is to command the night to labor for your good. Thus, the mind creates reality through thought before sleep, not as a poetic idea, but as an immutable truth of being. When you understand that every night is a silent creation, you no longer surrender to sleep thoughtlessly. You prepare it as you would a sacred ritual, knowing that the images you entertain are prophecies of what shall be. The power that governs dreams is the same power that governs destiny, and it awaits your direction each time you close your eyes. Wealth is not a matter of possession, but of perception. Not the gathering of things, but the realization of divine harmony. True wealth is an inward knowing that all is supplied, that the source of life withholds nothing from its creation. It is the calm assurance that what belongs to you by right of consciousness can never be withheld, and that the universe moves in perfect order to bring forth your good at the appointed time. To live in the consciousness of wealth is to live in tune with the infinite rhythm of abundance, the great pulse of divine supply that beats through every atom, every star, every living soul. There is a law of balance that governs all things, and wealth is one expression of that balance. When a person is aligned with divine harmony, the outer life naturally reflects order, beauty, and sufficiency. It cannot be otherwise, for the inner and outer are but two faces of the same reality. Poverty, then, is not an absence of money, but an absence of harmony, a belief in separation from the source. It is the false idea that life must be earned through struggle, that supply is limited, that others must lose for one to gain. Such beliefs close the gate through which abundance flows. But when one awakens to the truth that wealth is a spiritual state, a frequency of gratitude, peace, and faith, the gates swing wide, and the flow of substance answers that inner song of confidence. The universe is abundant beyond measure. Look to the trees, to the oceans, to the fields of grain, and you will see that there is no limit in divine provision. The same principle that multiplies a single seed into a harvest will multiply your good when you are in harmony with it. The law of supply is not reserved for the few. It is open to all who recognize its presence and live in accordance with it. The belief in scarcity is man-made, born of fear and ignorance, but the truth of wealth is eternal and cannot be diminished by human doubt. It is the law of life to express fullness, and every soul that aligns with this law becomes a channel through which prosperity flows freely. Wealth is divine harmony expressed through substance. It is the outward sign of inward order. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in rhythm with divine law, wealth must appear as naturally as light follows the dawn. You cannot seek harmony through greed or anxiety. These are discordant notes that repel abundance. The mind that seeks to possess for the sake of security declares its own insecurity. The heart that fears loss binds itself to loss. But the soul that knows its unity with infinite supply lives in quiet assurance, attracting good effortlessly because it expects nothing less. To awaken to the truth of wealth, one must first silence the noise of fear. The belief in lack has been taught and repeated until it appears as fact, yet it is only illusion. The same creative power that shapes galaxies is the power that supplies every need. When you realize this, when you feel deeply that you are sustained by an inexhaustible source, you cease to strive, you begin to live in the ease of divine rhythm, where effort becomes expression and work becomes joy. You move through life not as a beggar at the gates of opportunity, but as a rightful heir to infinite supply, knowing that your good cannot be lost, delayed, or denied. Wealth is not confined to gold or possessions. It is the awareness of plenty in all things. It is health in the body, peace in the mind, love in the heart, and inspiration in the soul. When you see beauty around you, you are rich. When you give freely without fear of depletion, you are wealthy beyond measure. When you trust that every need will be met, you live in divine affluence. The world often measures wealth by accumulation, but true wealth is measured by consciousness, by how deeply one knows that the universe is abundant and benevolent. The more you dwell in that knowing, the more the outer world reflects it through opportunities, ideas, and experiences of prosperity. Divine harmony operates like music. Each thought, each feeling, each act sends out a note into the great symphony of creation. When these notes are in tune with love, faith, and gratitude, they blend with the universal harmony and return as outer expressions of wealth and well-being. When they are discordant, when fear, resentment, or envy enter the composition, the music of life becomes strained and abundance seems to fade, but the law remains unchanged. The moment you restore harmony within, the outer melody of prosperity resumes its perfect rhythm. You are never separate from abundance, you are simply out of tune with it, until you remember the song. The divine idea of wealth knows no limitation. It is not bound by economic systems, by circumstance, or by time. The same power that sustains the stars sustains your every need, and that power is within you. You are not a seeker of supply, you are an expression of supply itself. You are not a beggar of blessings, you are the channel through which blessings flow. When you realize that wealth is a spiritual vibration rather than a material possession, you cease chasing it and begin embodying it. You become wealth in motion, the living evidence of divine sufficiency. To live in this consciousness is to live without fear of tomorrow. It is to know that the same law that brought today's blessings will provide tomorrow's abundance. It is to rest in the certainty that what you require will appear when needed, that divine timing is never late nor hurried. This is not blind faith, but spiritual understanding. The one who trusts the law of harmony no longer strains against life, but moves with it, as a leaf moves with the current of a river. The current never fails, only resistance creates struggle. The consciousness of wealth is cultivated through gratitude, for gratitude is the recognition of harmony already present. When you give thanks for what is, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance, and that vibration draws more of its kind. Gratitude dissolves envy, heals comparison, and transforms the smallest possession into a symbol of infinite supply. Each breath of appreciation is a declaration to the universe. I am in tune with my good, and the universe, ever responsive, echoes back that vibration through greater prosperity. When you understand that wealth is divine harmony, you begin to see that there is no real competition. Each soul has its own pattern of good, its own channel of supply, and none can take from another what is divinely ordained. What is yours by right of consciousness, and it comes to you with ease when you recognize it. The law of harmony does not operate through struggle, it operates through right alignment. To envy another's success is to declare one's own separation from the source. To bless another's prosperity is to affirm your oneness with abundance. The consciousness of wealth rejoices in the good of all, knowing that there is no limit to supply. Wealth, therefore, is not to be sought but to be realized. It is not something added unto you, but something revealed from within. The moment you align your thought with divine harmony, you begin to experience prosperity as naturally as you breathe. The river of abundance has always been flowing. You need only remove the stones of fear and disbelief to feel its current once more. The more you trust its flow, the stronger it becomes, until every area of life reflects the serenity and balance of the infinite. Faith and calm expectancy are the golden keys that unlock the invisible doors of abundance. They are the twin forces that turn thought into form, the still powers that command without effort. Faith is the assurance that what you seek already exists in the unseen, and calm expectancy is the quiet certainty that it is moving toward you now. Together they form the magnetic current that draws the invisible into visibility, that transforms the ideal into visibility, Without faith, thought is a shadow without substance. Without expectancy, faith is a flame without direction. When both are joined, creation is inevitable, for the law of manifestation answers to conviction, not doubt. There is a sacred rhythm in the universe, a law that brings forth every desire held in unwavering faith. The one who believes without agitation, who holds a steady vision without fear, becomes a center through which divine abundance flows freely. Faith is not a desperate cry for help. It is a serene recognition of eternal order. It is the soul's calm declaration, "It is already done." This inner knowing does not waver before appearances, for appearances are but the shadows cast by temporary thoughts. Faith looks beyond the seen to the unseen, beyond form to principle, beyond delay to divine timing. It stands still while the outer world rearranges itself to match its conviction. Calm expectancy is faith made visible through attitude. It is not mere hope, for hope often waits with anxiety. Expectancy waits with peace. It knows that every good desire has its appointed hour and that nothing can prevent its fulfillment when belief is complete. The expectant mind is like the soil awaiting rain. It does not question whether the clouds will gather, it simply opens itself in readiness. The anxious mind, by contrast, scatters its energy in doubt and impatience, pushing its good further away. The law of attraction answers not to words, but to vibration, and calm expectancy sends forth the vibration of certainty, calling forth conditions that match it perfectly. The universe responds to the atmosphere of your mind. If you dwell in worry, you attract confusion. If you rest in peace, you attract harmony. Faith and expectancy are not emotional efforts, they are states of being. They are the quiet alignment with divine law that says, "I trust the process of life. I trust the wisdom that guides all things." This trust does not depend upon outer evidence. When you walk in faith, you are walking in partnership with the unseen forces of good that shape destiny. You no longer fight circumstances, for you know that circumstances bend to consciousness. The world teaches struggle, the spirit teaches surrender. Faith is surrender to the divine order, the release of human will into higher intelligence. When you cease to fight against appearances, when you stop trying to force the outcome, the flow of good begins. Calm expectancy replaces tension with assurance, replacing the vibration of fear with the vibration of fulfillment. What you are expecting in peace must come, for peace is the sign that you are aligned with your answer. The moment anxiety enters, creation pauses, waiting for you to return to trust. Faith is the conductor of divine energy. Fear is the breaker that cuts its current. To live in faith is to live as though your desire were already realized. It is to think, feel, and act in alignment with the result before it appears. The subconscious mind takes its orders from this inner conviction, and the universe moves to fulfill them. When you believe with your whole being, every atom of your existence vibrates in harmony with your desire. The invisible begins to take shape, attracting people, ideas, and opportunities that lead to manifestation. Calm expectancy is the silent agreement with the universe that says, "I know it is done. I am ready to receive." There is no struggle in this knowing, for the law of creation works through ease, not effort. The one who lives by faith walks through life with quiet dignity. He does not boast of his belief, nor does he waver when the winds of circumstance blow. He stands as a tree rooted in divine soil, unmoved by storms, sustained by unseen waters. His calmness is not passivity but power. His silence is not weakness but command. The world may see delay, but he sees divine preparation. The world may see lack, but he sees unseen abundance gathering in the ether. Such a one becomes a living magnet for good, for the vibration of faith draws only that which is harmonious with itself. Every thought of doubt is a seed of delay. Every moment of fear scatters the energy of creation. The law cannot give what you do not truly expect to receive. To affirm abundance while secretly fearing loss is to speak in two languages at once, and the universe answers only the dominant vibration. Therefore, cultivate serenity of mind before you seek results. Let your affirmation rise not from desperation, but from peace. Say within yourself, "All that I desire already exists in divine substance, and it now appears in perfect time and perfect way." Feel the truth of these words until they become the rhythm of your being. Faith does not plead, it declares. Expectancy does not beg, it receives. The path of manifestation is not a path of speed but of steadiness. Many fail, not because their faith is weak, but because their expectation is restless. They plant a seed and then dig it up each day to see if it grows. The wise soul knows that growth is silent, that creation happens in the unseen long before it becomes visible. So it rests, knowing that the law is working even when nothing appears to be happening. This is the essence of calm expectancy. To wait without tension, to trust without anxiety, to know without seeing. The vibration of faith is harmony, and harmony attracts its likeness. When your mind is peaceful, your affairs become ordered. When your heart is assured, your circumstances align. Faith does not command the universe with force, it cooperates with it. It moves in rhythm with the unseen intelligence that governs all creation. This is why faith is called a law. It operates with precision. What you believe with feeling becomes your experience. What you expect with confidence must appear. For expectancy is the bridge between idea and expression. Every act of creation begins in the invisible. The farmer who plants a seed must believe that the harvest exists in potential, though unseen. The artist must believe in the form before the canvas receives it. The inventor must believe in the idea before the mechanism appears. So it is with wealth, success, love, and peace. All come forth from faith. Belief made steady through calm expectancy. The one who doubts cuts the thread of creation. The one who believes sustains it. The practice of faith and expectancy transforms the very vibration of your being. You begin to move with quiet confidence, speaking words of assurance, thinking thoughts of good, and feeling gratitude for blessings yet unseen. Gratitude is the twin of expectancy, for both affirm the presence of abundance. As you thank the unseen for what is already prepared, you accelerate its appearance in form. The energy of gratitude is magnetic, drawing forth every corresponding vibration of prosperity. The mind that expects good and gives thanks for it before it arrives creates a clear channel for manifestation. When faith is pure and expectancy calm, the universe hastens to fulfill its decree. Divine intelligence does not delay, it responds the moment the vibration is steady. All waiting is only the time required for your consciousness to align with your desire. The moment you are at peace with your good, it begins to take shape around you. This is why inner serenity is the greatest power you possess. It is the evidence that you are already in union with your answer. Sleep is not merely a rest for the body, it is the sacred hour when the unseen forces of creation continue their silent work. When you surrender to sleep, you enter the workshop of the infinite, where ideas are molded, desires are shaped, and prayers are answered in the secret chambers of the subconscious mind. The body lies still, but the creative life within you never sleeps. It moves with quiet precision, responding to the patterns impressed upon it by your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. Each night, as consciousness sinks into deeper realms, the vibrations you have held during the day become commands to the universe. The law of mind continues its operation, drawing to you experiences that match the tone of your inner state. To understand the power of sleep is to understand the rhythm of creation itself. The hours of wakefulness are for planting seeds through thought and action. The hours of sleep are for growth, gestation, and unseen expansion. What you hold in mind as you drift into rest becomes the blueprint for what shall appear in form. Many spend these sacred hours rehearsing fears, doubts, and grievances, and so awaken to the same conditions they wished to escape. But those who fall asleep in faith, peace, and expectancy are carried through the night by creative forces that never fail to respond to belief. Sleep aligns you with the unseen power that governs all things. It restores not only the body, but the connection between your conscious and divine mind. In the stillness of rest, resistance dissolves, and the natural current of life flows freely once more. The conscious mind, with its worries and reasoning, steps aside, allowing the subconscious to commune directly with infinite intelligence. In that sacred communion, the impressions of your thoughts become living patterns of energy, soon to manifest in visible form. If you sleep in harmony, the night becomes your silent ally, arranging, healing, and preparing the way for your good to appear. Every thought before sleep is a seed dropped into fertile soil. The subconscious is always receptive, always obedient, always ready to create according to the images impressed upon it. To sleep with thoughts of abundance is to instruct the creative power to build prosperity into your world. To sleep in peace is to summon harmony into the next day's affairs. Whatever you hold as real in those moments before drifting off becomes the law of your life. The imagination is most potent when the conscious mind relaxes, for then the gate to the deeper self stands open. In that twilight state, between waking and dreaming, the voice of the soul speaks clearly, and the forces of creation begin their perfect work. You are never closer to divine power than when you sleep in faith. The struggle and noise of the day give way to the serenity of divine law fulfilling itself. The unseen world is never idle. It organizes, adjusts, and harmonizes every detail necessary for your advancement. Doors you have not yet seen begin to open. Paths you have not yet walked begin to form. This silent alignment happens not through effort, but through trust. When you go to rest with calm assurance that life is for you, not against you, you are carried by the great tide of abundance that never ceases to flow. To align yourself with this unseen creative power, prepare your mind for rest as one would prepare a temple for prayer. Release every thought of resistance and unforgiveness. Let go of worry, for worry binds the energy of creation. Affirm quietly that divine order is working through every part of your life. Picture yourself surrounded by light, secure, prosperous, and at peace. Feel the reality of that image until your whole being vibrates with calm confidence as you drift into slumber. Know that this feeling is a signal to the infinite mind, which takes it and builds it into experience. The creative power within you knows no limitation. It never sleeps nor forgets. While you rest, it moves through people, circumstances, and events, orchestrating the fulfillment of your good. The next morning's opportunities, the meetings that seem to happen by chance, the sudden clarity that resolves a problem, all are evidence of the night's invisible work. You are not required to understand how. You are only required to trust that the unseen law is perfect and unfailing. The same intelligence that keeps the stars in order governs your affairs with precision. When you recognize that sleep is a time of creation, not idleness, you begin to use it consciously. You no longer close your eyes with worry but with reverence, knowing that you are entering the inner sanctuary of manifestation. You understand that to sleep with a troubled mind is to sow discord into your tomorrow, and to sleep with peace is to invite prosperity. Each night, you are given the choice of what pattern to impress upon the creative substance of the universe. Choose harmony, and the unseen power will shape your world to match it. Choose faith, and you will awaken to opportunities where none seem to exist. Choose love, and you will rise surrounded by its reflection in every form. Gratitude and belief are the twin lights that awaken material manifestation. They are the evidence of faith fulfilled, the visible and invisible currents that draw abundance from the unseen into form. Gratitude opens the door, belief keeps it open. Gratitude declares that the good you seek already exists. Belief anchors it in your experience. Together they form a sacred harmony, a vibration so high that it calls forth everything of like nature: peace, prosperity, health, opportunity, and joy. When gratitude fills the heart, it transforms thought from demand into acceptance, and when belief steadies the mind, the universe moves in response to that acceptance with perfect precision. Gratitude is more than polite appreciation. It is the spiritual recognition of abundance already present. It is the soul's way of saying, I see the good that already is, and I know more is on the way. When you give thanks before the manifestation, you align with divine law. You declare that your faith in the unseen is stronger than any evidence of lack. This simple act of thanksgiving multiplies whatever it touches, for gratitude is creative. It expands everything it blesses. When you are thankful for your home, your health, your work, your relationships, you magnetize greater good in each of these areas. Gratitude lifts thought from complaint to celebration, from scarcity to sufficiency. And in that lifted vibration, new channels of supply open. Belief is the invisible architect that designs the structure upon which gratitude builds. It is the unwavering conviction that what you have envisioned must appear, because it already exists in divine substance. Belief is not hope, it is certainty. It does not beg or plead, it calmly declares and accepts. The one who believes does not ask, will it come, but knows it is coming, and that knowing forms the mold through which creation flows. The universe responds not to words, but to the vibration behind them, and belief carries the vibration of completion. When your belief is strong, every force in creation conspires to make it real. Gratitude and belief together form the perfect creative circuit. Belief initiates the current, gratitude completes it. To believe without gratitude is to know the truth but fail to feel its joy. To be grateful without belief is to feel momentary peace, but lack the power to sustain manifestation. When both are present, the inner and outer worlds become one harmonious field of abundance. You no longer chase after good, you allow it. You no longer doubt, you expect with calm assurance. The vibration of your soul becomes a living prayer, drawing to you every corresponding expression of wealth and joy. When you awaken each morning with gratitude, you invite the day to mirror your inner state. Each thought of appreciation sets invisible forces into motion, guiding you to right people, right places, right opportunities. Gratitude dissolves the tension of striving and replaces it with flow. Even in moments of difficulty, the grateful heart sees hidden blessings, and this vision transforms the challenge into a channel of growth. The law of life is clear. What you bless increases, what you complain about contracts. To bless is to multiply, to complain is to restrict. Therefore, gratitude is the key that widens every gate of possibility. Belief, when steady, becomes the very foundation of peace. It is the awareness that divine order governs every detail of existence. It does not waver when appearances contradict the vision, for it knows that appearances are temporary shadows cast by fleeting thought. Belief stands firm in the knowledge that the unseen law of good never fails. This steadfastness is not stubbornness, it is alignment. The believer does not force outcomes, he allows divine intelligence to arrange all things perfectly. This is why belief and surrender walk hand in hand. To believe is to release the need to control, to let the higher wisdom of the universe fulfill what the human mind can only imagine. As gratitude deepens and belief strengthens, your entire vibration changes. You begin to see evidence of good everywhere. Doors open easily, people respond kindly, and ideas arrive as if whispered by an unseen guide. These are not coincidences. They are manifestations of your inner state. The world reflects the consciousness that creates it. Gratitude and belief are the two poles of that consciousness, forming a magnetic field that draws to you experiences of harmony. The grateful soul does not ask when or how, it simply knows. The believing mind does not question if, it simply affirms. To awaken in wealth is to awaken in awareness of the abundance that has always been yours. When you move through the world thankful for each breath, each opportunity, each lesson, the universe mirrors that joy in visible prosperity. Gratitude tunes you to the frequency of receiving, and belief maintains that vibration until manifestation is complete. Every act of appreciation is a prayer answered in advance. Every moment of belief is a declaration of divine certainty. Together they form the bridge between thought and thing, spirit and matter, invisible and visible. The more you live in this consciousness, the more your outer world will unfold in perfect reflection of your inner wealth.